Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 602. Trustees have a fiduciary responsibility and trust. So we always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is going to be an epic event. We actually, are pretty excited about the workshop that we have coming up, Asset Protection Estate Planning Workshop. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a great one. It's going to be our best one yet. We got a bunch of people that are going to be showing up. And, it is limited seating. We've had limited seating at all of our events. And, it is a private event, so it will not be recorded. There is no same day tickets. Any of that stuff is pre registration. Feel free to reach out, take advantage of actually being in a room with private people, private networking, and once again having the experience and putting together the team you need. And so this episode actually leads into the actual episode. This episode leads into the actual workshop, which is and just once again, everybody that's coming, appreciate you. Safe travels. Look forward to seeing you all in a week or so. It's going to be pretty exciting to see you all in the next 7 days. It is business stress. Pretty excited about that. A lot of people, they always want to come to these events. And so that's what leads into this episode is you have a fiduciary responsibility. How are you going to go into the bank as a trustee? Are you going to go in wearing jeans? Are you going to go in wearing a t-shirt? Or are you going to go in there as if you have a family estate that you have to manage from a business perspective, from a fiduciary perspective? Do you have an obligation to the beneficiaries for generations to come to dress the part? So we've traditionally never had those challenges, but we know we got to put it out there because it's something that a lot of people look forward to. And, if you forget your tie that day, it's not a problem. But at the end of the day, really excited about connecting with trustees. A lot of people want to shake a hand. A lot of people want to network. This is for the families that say, oh, I'm in the foundation. If you're in a foundation, then you're networking with other people in private foundations. That's how it works. People in trust network with other people in trust. They don't just talk to people that aren't in trust. And that's what you have as a fiduciary. You have a responsibility to get around more competent people. You have a fiduciary responsibility to get around and put together a team and not just depend on your own understanding. Really excited about, once again, the work asset protection, the Vault Conference 2024. Really excited about it. So, trustees have a fiduciary responsibility and trust. These are the easier topics to talk about because, we're not, getting on anybody for trying to say, oh, I want to be in trust. Well, if you want to be in trust, ladies and gentlemen, you're a fiduciary now. You're an officer. So you have a responsibility to learn how to raise capital. People have the responsibility to learn how to raise capital. It's not just going to come from your job. Trustees say, oh man, I want to be a trustee. But when you say you want to be a trustee, you're basically saying you want to be a fiduciary. You're basically saying you want to be an officer. That means you're held liable for the growth and the negatives of the estate, of the trust itself. So people keep saying that all the time. Oh, I want to be in trust. I want to be in trusteeship. I want to be in trustee training. You want to be in fiduciary training. You want to be in officer training. Are you going to study though? See, it's easy to talk that generational wealth stuff. Oh, generational wealth, trust Christian involved. I'm trying to make generational wealth happen. How you going to make generational wealth happen and you're not focused on being a fiduciary? You're focused on trying to put crumbs inside of the trust from a job. Instead of focusing on how do I put an asset in the business, because in the job, you're the asset. You're also the liability to the company. They write you off. But you're an asset to the family estate if you work a job. That's why we deal with the insurance immediately for trustees when they talk about the infinite banking concept. We got to insure the greatest asset until you build an asset. That's the fiduciary responsibility that you have. We got to insure the greatest asset, which is you or family members, until you, the fiduciary, put an asset in place, until you acquire an asset. People think, oh, I just want to put my house in trust. How is that an asset? It's a liability. People want to put liabilities in trust. That's what they do, and they don't know it though. They caught up on the internet hype. Oh, you put your house in a trust, everything's gonna be swell. But what happened to you as the fiduciary to grow how to bring cash flow in to pay for that? Because it was still a liability because they owe a mortgage on it. So how are you a fiduciary? How are you fulfilling your fiduciary responsibility? Are you getting around people that are more successful than you on a regular basis? Are you dropping the 2 grand, the 3 grand, the 5 grand a year in your private education? Oh man, Trust Christian and Vote. You trying to tell me it's gonna cost me about 5 to 10 grand? What are you talking about? Of course it is. Of course it's gonna cost over 5 grand a year. That could be in flights. That could be in the actual education itself. Of course. That sounds pretty pricey though for your fiduciary education though, right? But you want to protect a family estate that has over $100,000 worth of assets, that has over $300,000 worth of assets, that has over $500,000 in assets, that has over $1 million in assets. People come on the line all the time. Oh yeah, we need to put our estate inside. We got family property and it's paid off and we didn't put it in a trust because they're not acting in the capacity of fiduciary. They just heard some internet hype stuff. Well, you're not focused on internet hype and you focused on learning how to be a fiduciary. You go and invest in the family estate, invest in the private education of the trustee to learn how to become the best fiduciary that they possibly can. To put together a process and procedures in place for the successor. Thinking about the successor, thinking about the beneficiary. But how many trustees haven't got over themselves yet because they got a public education? Oh man, Trust Christian, I'm thinking about me, my, and I. That's what they're thinking about. My house, my car. Well, how do I get money, Trust Christian in the vault? What about me? I got to sacrifice for the second gen. I got to sacrifice for the next gen. Of course. That's the whole purpose of being in it. Oh man, I don't know if I want to give up my selfish ways. I don't want to be a servant. I just want to be selfish. I want to work a job because then I'm a liability. Otherwise, you be an asset. You're going to focus on making sure that you put the proper processes and procedures in place, the proper system in place. You're going to manage the system properly. You know the ins and outs of the system. Oh man, Trust Christian and Vote. I don't know if I got the money for that. You're right. You're not financially prepared because you're not acting as a fiduciary. If you're acting as a fiduciary, you're gonna study to find to bring ways to bring capital into the estate, into the trust. That's how it works. You're gonna focus on bringing money into the estate, and it's not just gonna be through a job. It's gonna be through multiple assets. It's gonna be through multiple assets. Multiple streams of income coming into the family estate. You're going to be actively pursuing on every phone call, how do we bring money into the estate? How do we put the proper insurance to protect the estate? This is the mindset. What happens to you if something goes down? The proper fiduciary, the proper trustee is going to focus on if something happens to you as the primary trustee, who's going to take over the trust? Who's going to take over the estate? Your family members that don't know? Your friends that don't know? And don't think you're going to get Trust Christian to do it for the free ski. Oh man, Trust Christian and Vote. You think you could sit on the board of trustees? Not for free. We can set up contracts all day though. For management, fees. Because that's what you get charged when you actually go the proper route. You have a management fee over the estate. Trustees have a fiduciary responsibility in trust. Appreciate everybody that hit the like and subscribe. Appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listen to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you're listening live, listen to replay. This is a major shift in mentality because it requires also the trustee to take risk. But what happens when you don't know how to calculate risk properly? When you don't know how to calculate risk, risk is such a subjective thing. That's all you are as a trustee, as a risk manager. How do I assess risk and minimize the risk to the family estate and the decisions that I'm going to make based off of that? How do you become a proper risk manager? Well, you got to take some risk. You hear that? How do you become great at managing risk? You study other people that have made the same risk and their outcomes. And you put them in the file cabinet in your mind mentally. So when you get to that decision point, you don't make the same mistake that the previous person did. You have a fiduciary responsibility. It's a financial responsibility. What are you going to do to bring money into the family estate besides work a job? They come on the line all the time. Oh man, Trust Christian, I'm trying to grow generational wealth, but I got to figure out how to get off my job. I got to figure out how to get off my job. You ain't got to figure out how to get off it. You got to figure out another income source and grow it till you can leave that. It's not to say it's wrong with anything having a job, but at the end of the day, how you gonna make it a point to say you're gonna be a proper trustee and you're not willing to go out and take risk some sleep, risk some time with friends and family so you can grow the family estate. So you can get around the new group of people that you got to get around. Oh man, I don't know if I'm going to learn a new skill set called golf, Trust Christian Vault, because, golf isn't really easy. And look, here's the hack. That's literally pun intended. The hack is the mentor said, Trust Christian, you got to learn how to play bad golf well. You got to be okay with playing bad golf. What does that have to do with you being a trustee and being on the course and talking to money sources or talking to other people in trust and building a relationship? You got to learn how to play bad golf well. Oh, Trust Christian, I don't know what you mean. I want to be great at golf. Well, is that the goal, to be great at golf, thinking you a fake Tiger Woods? Or is your goal to say, you know what, I need to be in the environment with other asset managers? What are other asset managers doing in their free time? Other asset managers in their free time, they're playing golf and talking to each other. They're not going to have brews at the bar. They're playing golf together. Sorry to tell you guys this. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. I guarantee you, you get a woman out on the golf course, she's going to be able to hang out with other fiduciaries and get the job done. It's not about your gender. It's not about your color. It's about your work ethic. Are you willing to play bad golf? Oh no, I don't want to learn how to play golf. I got to spend money. Once again, thinking the wrong way. I got to spend money instead of having a family estate, invest in you, learning how to build relationships. Not being a cheapskate. Talking about you want to build generational wealth for the low. It don't work that way. How does the low equal generational wealth? There is no low in generational wealth. Business savvy, business acumen, those things correlate with generational wealth. Not the low, not the cheapskate. I'm trying to give me a cheap education in trusteeship so I could get out of poverty. That's how you know they ain't gonna make it. Instead of focusing on saying, wealth is a mentality. Poverty is a mentality. I just need to have the mentality. I need to have the habits of a wealthy person. What are the habits of a wealthy person? They focus on being a proper fiduciary. They focused on investing, not on spending. If you still got that spending word in your vocabulary, that's how you know you're not going to make it. What are you spending money for? You got to invest. The family has to invest, period, for an extended period of time. But if you spending money, we know what's going to happen. You can't even write off spending, but you can write off investments. You can write off the loss in an investment, right? That's the difference in mentality. Now, as a fiduciary, we don't want to write those things off in the respect of it being a failure, but we got to be okay with financial failures. Are you a prudent investor? That's what it comes down to. Are you a prudent investor? Are you looking to be a quality investor? Are you looking to be a quality asset manager? We got, what did they say? Y'all can Google. What's Warren Buffett's rule? Don't lose money. What's the BlackRock's guys over there at BlackRock? They say, don't lose money. A lot of people will fail because they lose their money. And the way that you reduce that losing is by stop spending and focus on investing. Don't lose money. People are going to take the easy route out, though. That's what it is. But the ones that say, oh, you know what? I'm going to stand up for the family estate. I'm going to be the best fiduciary I could possibly be. When you're looking to be the best fiduciary you could possibly be, you're going to check your emails. You're going to show up for meetings on time. You're going to dress the proper way. And you're going to enforce that with the people that you're dealing with. That's a fact. Of course, there's existential circumstances. Oh, man. Everybody's going to say, oh, it was traffic. How traffic going to be your excuse? The meeting, the asset protection and estate planning workshop will start at 9 a.m. Not 9:01, not 9:05, not 9:00 nothing, other than 9 o'clock. There is no traffic excuse. Oh, Trust Christian, you think you could hold the event up for traffic? Not at all. When you set the standard for the family, people have to meet it or they don't. That's the responsibility that you say you're taking on. It's upholding the family's standards. Not, oh, well, traffic. Oh, man, I had to wash my clothes this week. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a fiduciary responsibility to dress the part. Trustees come on the line wearing T-shirts. What you wearing a T-shirt for? You represent your family estate. This ain't personal. So for all the ones that do it, it ain't personal. It's business. Then do you even wear a white collar shirt? That's the facts. Do you wear a white collar shirt? Oh man, I'm sitting in the comfort of my home because I'm taking this as a joke. I don't even think we're going to be able to put $1 million together in my life together because I'm working a job. So what's the point of being in trust if you're going to wear T-shirts to the meeting instead of putting on proper business attire? Oh, Trust Christian, do you tell that to the trustees directly? First of all, it's a business meeting. Let's make it clear. It's a business meeting. It's a fiduciary meeting. Trust Christian, they know how Trust Christian comes to the events. They know how Trust Christian shows up. No questions asked. We know what he's going to be, suited and booted. Oh man, can you get things done without dressing that way? Ladies and gentlemen, y'all ask all the time, what about getting a loan from a bank? How you going to get a loan from a bank? You showing up in T-shirt and sandals and shorts. How do you expect to be taken seriously when the banker is sitting across from you with a white collar shirt on and a tie? With a sport coat? That's your fiduciary responsibility. Your fiduciary responsibility is to keep the minutes. Oh, Trust Christian, I always had a hard time keeping the minutes. I don't know if I could do a trustee diary every day. How? It's your fiduciary responsibility to set up the successors in the right position. Oh, I ain't got 15 minutes. I'm too lazy. I'm going to scroll on social media for 15 minutes, though, today. I promise you that, Trust Christian Vault. Don't think Trust Christian Vault don't know. Don't think we don't know that you scrolling for at least 15 minutes on social media every day. So you trying to say you can't do a mag on minute? That's what they say. Trust Christian, I have a hard time doing the minutes. Set a reminder. Set an alert on your phone every night before you go to bed. Because guess what? The successors are only going to be able to depend on the fake news unless you give them the real news. Letting them know what was the sentiment from the trustees' perspective. Not from, oh man, all I got to do is go click on YouTube and go click on some other channel and see what the public fake news put out there. What happened to the successor? What happened to the successor being able to look at the trustee diary and say, dang, the trustee, they said something different that was going on in the economy. They said that the public media was lying about the polls for the elections. They were lying. They were putting out fake news. They were putting out fake news. They don't understand that there's a difference between the economy and the stock market. We'll say it again. There's a difference between the economy and the stock market. Oh, the little guy, right? Ain't that what they call him, the little guy? Well, the little guy, he's not the company. He's an employee. He's a consumer. That's the little guy. The fiduciary is thinking, how can we sell to the consumer? How can we sell to the classes? What product or service do we have for the classes? Or what product or service do we have for the masses? Your job is to sell something. Oh man, I don't like sales, Trust Christian Revolt. I don't like selling nothing. That's why you got a job. Because if you like selling something, you would understand that's what a business is built off of. Selling a product or a service. That's your fiduciary responsibility to develop your sales skills. You think Trust Christian Revolt ain't went to communications classes? We don't went to communications classes. Oh, I didn't go to college though, Trust Christian Revolt. Yeah, but we also went to communications classes. I got to invest in that. How much that's going to cost me? It's going to cost you about $7,000 to $8,000 to $9,000. Wow. You got that in your 401k though, don't you? That you've been saving up. That the company could go under tomorrow and then you owl out. The company can go under tomorrow. Y'all done seen billion-dollar companies go out of business. You seen Blockbuster go out of business. You seen Redbox. Remember when Redbox came out and Redbox was the greatest thing since sliced bread? Now we on streaming. What makes you think things aren't going to change? Things are going to change. But are you studying the market? Are you studying are you investing in the Financial Times? Are you investing in the New York Times? Or are you trying to get the free information over there scrolling on Facebook and IG? We're going to go ahead and say it. Oh man, I'm going to be scrolling while I'm sitting down. I just got a few minutes. I'm trying to relax a little bit, Christian. It's a hard life out here. I'm trying to relax, man. You're not trying to build generational wealth. And guess what? We're going to go ahead and tell y'all how the people talk in the environments that we in with the mentors and the successful ones that are in true trusteeship. They'll say, Christian, they'll say, Trust Christian, we're not focused on building no generational wealth. We focused on managing and not losing it. You hear the difference? See, when you have the mindset of a wealthy person, you're focused on not losing it. You're not focused on building nothing because you already got it. First place you got to have it is in your mind. The second place comes out here in the physical world. But you got to have the wealth in your mind. What's the number you got in your mind? We were talking to one of the mentors the other day. He said, Trust Christian, most people don't even have a goal. It was crazy to hear this, man. I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, this guy talking some craziness right now. It's like, what you mean they ain't got a goal? They don't got a goal? You don't know how much money you need to have for the family estate? How much the family estate needs to have at the end of 12 months? At the end of the year this year? They don't got no goal set? No, because they don't want to fail. Or matter of fact, they don't want to get off their rusty dusty and do something and fail and succeed. What they want to read personal development books. They want to read books. Nah, you got to actually go out there and execute. Trust Christian Revolt, we sitting here doing interviews. We done did 2 interviews this morning for some board members. Who you gonna put on the board of the trust? Is it just gonna be you and your knowledge base? Or you gonna go out and say, you know what? It's time to expand. We need to find more competent trustees and go find some trustees. And you figure out how to pay them over a period of time. But you gotta go out there and put other trustees on the board. Well, who do I need? We're gonna share with y'all what the board looks like. It looks like the Asset Protection and Estate Planning Workshop. When you look at it, we got the tax specialist. She's a goddamn tax expert. She can defend the trust in front of the IRS. Jesus, that's Larissa Humphreys. That's gonna be your CFO. When y'all sit in the room, y'all can ask her, "Hey, are you okay with acting as a board? Are you okay with acting as an advisor? Are you okay? Do you?" She don't even want to sometimes sit on the board for y'all. That's the bottom line. She don't want to sit on no board, especially if you ain't paying. When we say you, we talk about the entity. Then you got somebody that knows how to protect the money when it comes into the estate. Because you got to insure the money that y'all want to sit here and talk bad about. Oh man, the dollar's trash, Trust Christian Revolt. The dollar's trash. You know, we don't even like the dollar. The dollar going down the drain. The dollar is inflation, Trust Christian Revolt. Remember that word? Inflation. They all talk all this stuff. There's inflation on the money, Trust Christian Revolt. How you insuring the money though? How you insuring the family estate money? Huh? How you insuring the family estate money? They didn't tell y'all that in public school though, huh? The gurus over the internet, they ain't tell y'all that y'all gotta insure the money through an infinite banking concept, did they? Nah, Trust Christian Revolt. They telling us to put it in a savings, high yield savings. I'm trying to get an interest dividend off the savings account. I'm trying to do a money market account. Then they gonna talk all the halfway stuff about doing the insurance policy, but they didn't implement the strategy yet. I know about that stuff, Trust Christian Revolt, but you didn't implement the strategy yet. You didn't find somebody that was competent. that can do the work. Let them do their job. Give them the information they need. Do you have someone that has over 25, 30 years of experience in trusteeship? Dr. Bay, man, Dr. Bay has traveled to, man, we said online the other day, is what it is. We're going to say what it is. Man, went to Northern Africa to help people make sure that their family estates is set up. See, people don't understand who they're dealing with because they want everybody to be in the public and be flashy. Like these guys sit on the internet with these daggone fake diamonds and they chains on the internet. That's who their heroes are. It's guys sitting on the internet with chains, bracelets, watches. And if they were smart, they supposed to insure all of it, right? Right. So they got a team, but they supposed to insure it. But, hey, they didn't show me that they riding around with the stars in the ceiling, Trust Christian in the vault. They didn't show me that they got the Rolls Royces. They didn't got the Rolls Royces, Trust Christian in the vault. If you private and you living in trusteeship, you wouldn't even be showing that off because you're an op then. Ain't that what the young kids say? You an op. You making yourself a target. You making your family a target. The more money you got, the more you're a target. That's your fiduciary responsibility, is to learn how to be private. To learn how to keep the wealth private. But instead, you got these guys riding around trying to share with you, oh man, if I don't show you the money, then you're not going to buy my book. Oh, let's talk about it. If I don't show you the money, you're not going to buy my book. Y'all don't even want to know. The best trustees, the fiduciaries that we sit around, they don't even want to talk to you about a book. They don't want to talk. They want to be private. They don't want to be bothered with people that don't have a fiduciary mindset. Because as soon as you cut on that fiduciary mindset, you're an asset to wealthy families again. You're an asset. You're not a liability. When you're a fiduciary, you're an asset. When you're growing assets, you're an asset. When you're bringing money into the family estate other than the job because you're the asset, then you're an asset. When you can do the opposite of that. That's the difference. It's not about how many books you read on finance. I know about that stuff, Trust Christian in the vault. Nah. The best fiduciaries, they go find the best people that are in trusteeship. That's how we got around the billionaires. You think we got around the billionaires because they came and visited us? No, we had to invest thousands of dollars to go visit them. To be in their presence and not feel incompetent, to not feel inferior just because somebody's managing more assets. What difference does it make? You got to sit there and be humble. You got to come up with some great questions then. Matter of fact, you got to have a goal. You got to have a dream. We're talking to Dr. Bay about it the other day. He said, Trust Christian, most people ain't got a dream, Trust Christian about. They just be talking. I'm like, man, what you mean they talking? What do you mean? They don't got a dream. They don't got a goal. What, you afraid not to hit your goals? How many times can you go into work and not show up on time? Ain't that a goal every day? You got to show up to work on time, correct? You gotta not steal hours. You can't just stay and say, oh, I'm collecting overtime. When they tell you it's over, it's over. You got to go home. So you can't steal overtime. You got a fiduciary responsibility to come in, and check out on time. All the time, as Dr. Bay say. Oh man, that's how it is, Trust Christian vote. That's kind of what we've encountered. Don't show up on time and see what happened. Don't dress the part and see what happened. Don't study what a fiduciary is and see what happened. What is a fiduciary? What's your fiduciary responsibility to your family estate? Do y'all have what's your financial responsibility to the family estate? Is it to show up late? Is it to show up with the improper clothes? Is it to not study every day? Is it to not do a minute every day or a minute once a week? To have a family meeting once a week? If the family member don't show up, what difference do it make? Is the family going to still go on? Or we going to wait for the family members that didn't show up? We waiting for the family members that didn't show up, huh? Who knows if they ever gonna show up? Because if they was responsible, they would show up. Rather for them to show up and fall asleep in a meeting almost, than for them to say, man, I'm sleepy from my job, so I can't show up for the meeting. Exactly. Because their fiduciary responsibility is some other man's last name. There's somebody else's family. Instead of focusing on their own last name and their own family and putting that as a priority. It's easy to do that other stuff. Why? It's only easy because you've been programmed. It's only easy because they've been programmed. They're a little hamster on the wheel. You get on a hamster wheel, you just start running around. That's all you're going to do. Run around, run around. But when you step off and you say, hey, I got to go somewhere. I got to do something. I got another obligation. You don't keep getting on the same hamster wheel. Your fiduciary responsibility isn't to ensure the money that comes in. Oh no, I just want to get in trust so I could put some money in it and it pay for things because that's what I heard you could do. I want to put my house in it, but you're not insuring the money that's paying for the house. Right? Are you insuring the money that's paying for the house? Are you insuring the money that's paying for the cars? I thought that was your fiduciary responsibility. But when you don't have competent leadership, when you don't have competent mentorship, when you're coming out of this, and not knowing what you're doing, when are you going to invest in your education? You got cable? Ain't that $300 a month? Oh no, Trust Christian, I got Netflix. I got Netflix, Trust Christian Vote. That's less than $30 a month. Yeah, you could also be buying a book a month. Straight up. You could invest in some type of communication service to communicate with wealthier families. You could invest in a publication, the Financial Times or some other. We're not promoting Financial Times. We're just talking about different type of publications, financial publications that, once again, this is how the elite are communicating right in front of your face. It ain't through the movies. Y'all can get over that conspiracy spirit, whatever that conspiracy theory garbage. Oh man, the wealthy people communicating through a movie. No, they're communicating through a book. They're communicating through a magazine. That's how they're communicating. Through a book. Through reading. Because they understand that half the population is illiterate. That half the population wants to be entertained. Trust Christian Vote, I want to be entertained, man. I've been working hard all week, man. I just want to take off a little bit of stress. But you say you want to be a trustee. You say you want to be a fiduciary or a family estate, but they watching Netflix, trying to get cozy in the bed at night. Instead of falling asleep to a financial book so it can put in their subconscious mind some fiduciary thoughts. That's the difference. Oh man, Trust Christian Vote, I got to go to the law library this weekend. Man, they was going to have a cookout. Summer's almost over. They having a cookout. I'm going to miss the cookout this year. They've been doing the cookout every year. And guess what? They not no wealthier than they were last year either. But by you hanging out with them, we going to find out where you going to be. We going to find out where the family estate going to be 2, 3, 4 years from now. Because you wanted to keep going to the cookout. But guess what? If you took that book that you invested in to the cookout, how many of them are going to laugh at you? How many of them going to laugh at you and say, oh man, what you doing? You got that book. Man, put that book away and relax, man. But they swimming in debt at the house you hanging out at. They got the cars leased out. They got the cars with a little loan on it. They living paycheck to paycheck. But you got to hang out with them, right? Trust Christian, don't say it like that. Everybody's living like that, right? What, the 90%? That's who's living like that. Because you said you want to be a generational wealth trustee. So that means you're not going to do what the 90% is doing, right? That means you might take the book to the cookout, read the book for about 15, 20 minutes, and still chat up the nothings. I got to go make sure I get the... Look, soon as football season here, hey, man, after 12 o'clock, Trust Christian, I can't do no meetings on Sunday, man. I can't be doing no meetings on trust. If we had to do trustee training on Sundays, you know how many people wouldn't show up for trustee training? Think about that. How many of your people in your family wouldn't show up for a sport? They won't show up to a family event for the family fiduciary position and responsibility, but they're going to go watch a sport to be entertained. but they swimming in debt. And it's okay. Everybody else doing it, right? No, everybody that you hang out with is doing that. And the circles we in, they don't carry debt. They issue mortgages from the family estate. Do you hear the difference? They're not going to some X, Y, and Z bank. They're issuing a mortgage, if they are, to their children on the family estate. They're issuing loans from the family estate so the children can buy a car. Oh man, Trust Christian, my kid wanted to buy a car, so they went and got a loan. But because we didn't put the infinite banking system in place, we can't loan them no money because we not focused on being a fiduciary. We focused on being consumers. Hard pill to swallow, ladies and gentlemen. Hard pill to swallow. Hold up. We ain't got enough money in it yet, so we can't make a full loan. Look, when you stay focused on your fiduciary responsibility, you'll figure it out. When you focused on being a consumer, all you're going to do is make an excuse. Man, we didn't have enough money. We didn't figure it out. I got a 401k, but I didn't want to liquidate that and take the tax hit right now and put it in the infinite banking concept. Because I don't know that the taxes are going to be higher in the future. Because you didn't do your fiduciary responsibility homework. But when you do your fiduciary responsibility homework, you get a picture of that. You get an idea of that. Dang, man, I gotta make sure that I got a banking system in place. See, it's easy to talk that jibber jabber over the internet nowadays. Oh man, trusteeship, private wealthship. Oh yeah, I'm in trust Christian. Then when they get on the line, they find out they in the public trust. Crickets, cricket. Oh, Trust Christian, hold on, but so how do I get out of this position? You got to invest in your private education. You might have to work more than one job for a quick second so you can get your money up. So, and then not only that, why don't you read, just like you went to school to learn how to get a job? Didn't they give you 90 days worth of training on the job? Why don't you read a business book and start a business in the next 90 days? What, you afraid to fail? You know how many entrepreneurs we done came across that they done failed 10, 20 times in businesses? Oh man, that sounds unreal. Yeah, you only had 2, 3, 4 jobs in your life, but you afraid to fail 10 times in a business and be successful in the 11th one, be a multi-millionaire, 100-millionaire in the business, centimillionaire in the business. But nah, people afraid of being ridiculed. Oh man, I didn't show up to the birthday party, 'cause they celebrate that every year. So if I don't go get cake and ice cream, and blow out the candle with them, and what? And then when they go to college, they in debt. When they come out of college, they in debt. They living paycheck to paycheck. That's what you was wishing them for when you went to the birthday parties. You was wishing for them to be living paycheck to paycheck. That's what you was wishing when you was sitting there at the birthday party, at the cookout. I really wasn't wishing that. We know you're not. But the fiduciary responsibility, when you show up, you might even say, you know what? I was going to give you some money, but I'm going to make sure that you got this hard, tangible asset called gold and silver, and I'm going to hold it in a family estate safe so you don't squander it. I'm going to make sure that you got hard assets for your birthday, quote unquote. I'm going to make sure that you got hard assets for your celebrations, hard assets. Make sure you got hard assets. Not the ones that you can liquidate real quick, but you can with the gold and silver, whatever it is, but hard assets. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening, replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening, replay. Always appreciate people that are coming to the actual workshop. Looking forward to seeing y'all at the actual family estate. What is it? The planning and estate planning workshop. Look forward to seeing y'all. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a great one. We did our best to bring the best speakers in for this particular audience. We have a bunch of trustees that are in the training and they need this specific get it done mentality right now. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. You got families that are willing to step up to the plate, make some sacrifices in their finances, and say we need to make sure that we're allocating them to our private education and make sure we're setting up the next generation. Y'all don't even want to know that the fall off from Gen 1 to 2, because you're 0, is 1 to 2 is 70% plus. What would you work this hard for to know that your wealth is going to fall off, the family estate's going to fall off after gen 1 or 2? Couldn't even make it 3 daggone generations. Couldn't even make it 2 generations. Your fiduciary responsibility is not to give them money. Your fiduciary responsibility is to pass along values and not making it easier for the next gen, but passing along values for the next gen. Making sure that they got values, a work ethic, showing up on time, having a fiduciary mindset, not a consumer mindset. That's the facts. Making sure that they understand assets and liabilities properly. But ladies and gentlemen, we sat around this family recently, the past few days. This family is teaching their children about risk management, and the child was like 6 years old. 5 and 6 years old. Asking them questions. Hey, Johnny, you want to be a trustee or you want to work a job for some other family? Oh, no, Pop, I'm going to work for you. I'm going to work for the family estate. You know how many, this is the difference between the elite families, the families that think from a fiduciary responsibility, that pass on the proper values or not. This is how you know you're not going to make it past first gen or second gen, or you know you're going to make it past first gen or second gen. This is how you know. The families we sit around, there are no options for their children. They're going to work for the family. There is no option. We're not going to let Johnny go out and work for no other family. Because if we do that, that's to teach them a hard lesson, which is who you think going to actually be there for you when it's all said and done. Who you think's going to make sure you're good when you hit hard times? The family, not the job. They're going to fire you. The families that we sit around, they don't give their children an option. Oh man, I think you might be a little athletically inclined. No, your kid ain't going pro. You got your kid in sports, he ain't going pro. She ain't going pro. He gonna be an amateur. That's the facts. Oh man, I gotta have Johnny in all these different sports, man, because I'm trying to make him a well-rounded individual. I gotta get him used to team sports. Yeah, but you didn't get him used to team business, baby. See, the elite families don't give him an option. They're engaged in family team business. They're in family team building sessions. Not in, oh, we got to go get him in sports, because, I was a little uncoordinated and I couldn't do it, but, I got to go put Johnny in sports, so we can see if he can go pro, we can live off him. We got to make sure he go pro so he can make our family wealthy. You hear that? That's not how the elite families think. That's not how the families we sit around that are well off financially, that are proper trustees. Guess what? That's not only in the United States. We were with this one Indian family one time. The whole family, we were sitting next to them on an airplane. The whole family's in business. The mom, the dad, obviously. The dad's in business with his brothers. That's the first hint, hint, wink, wink. The next one is his wife's in business with him. Hint, hint, wink, wink. The next hint, hint, wink, wink. His son's in business. He's the accountant. The daughter's in the business. She's in operations. Running a daggone optical glass company. Over $100 million. How you think you're going to hold the wealth together? How you think you're going to protect yourself from the predators and the snakes? You got to have people that you can trust in business with you. But guess what? Most of y'all ain't got people. Not most of y'all. Our listening audience is a developing audience. But most people, they don't have people that they can say they trust in their family. Ain't that sad? Oh man, I can't trust my family with the money. I can't trust them with access to the account. I can't trust them. Well, who can you trust? That's why wealthy families, we sit around wealthy families. They'll tell you straight up. Oh, Trust Christian Revolt, we get around other families because we see some of our children aren't competent. So the ones that have their family in the environment, they're usually competent. The ones that don't, they're not competent. When you don't bring your children around, they're not competent. Competence equals confidence. You don't have the confidence in them because you're not getting them up to speed, because you're allowing them to go play sports, because you want them to play an instrument. So guess what? The bank's going to manage how much money they get. Some asset manager's going to manage how much money they get. That's how you're going to think when you become a successful trustee and fiduciary. You're going to say, man, I can't give my child a loaded gun. I can't give them just cash in hand so they can get on drugs. These are the statistics. They get on drugs or they commit they commit a crime because they're not competent. So a lot of families, fiduciaries that are successful, if their children are competent, they say, oh yeah, my child, they're not made for this. They're not made to do negotiations. They're not made to educate themselves. They sent them sometimes to good schools. They didn't put the children in a position where they say, you have no options. You're going to be a trustee of the family estate. That doesn't mean that they can't exercise their creative abilities within the family estate. They can exercise their creative abilities in the family estate. They definitely can. But them not having a fiduciary responsibility puts them in a position where they're sitting in a second place position, and they're thinking from a consumer. They're thinking from a give me. They're thinking from a beneficiary. A trustee is not a beneficiary. A trustee is a fiduciary. They're a manager. They're an officer. Oh, we do these episodes because we know this ain't for everybody. But we like putting out these episodes because everybody wants to sit on the internet and tell you, oh yeah, if you get in real estate, you go get some generational wealth BS. It's garbage. You think you just going to set your kids up and you're going to give them some money and they're not going to squander it? Oh, I'm going to make it easier for my kids. Yeah. And then they're not going to know the value of the dollar. They're not going to know your work ethic because you didn't keep the minutes and make it mandatory for them to read the minutes if they want to receive any money. What's wrong with doing minutes and saying, look, if you want to receive some money, you're going to have to meet some qualifications. But it's too easy to talk that talk over the internet. Oh man, generational wealth. Hoorah, rah, rah. Yo, just get in trust Christian, and vote so you can protect your assets. See, that's what they think. They're going to get in trust. They're going to put the house in trust, and they're going to sit on assets. They're going to sit on assets. That's not a fiduciary mindset. That's a consumer mindset. That's not a fiduciary. A fiduciary is actually going to go out and say, I'm not just going to put this inside of a trust. I'm actually going to grow the asset itself. That may mean you move out. Go back to renting. Make sure the first property pay for your rent, quote unquote, and then have the property pay for itself, pay itself down, and take some equity out or do the same thing. And now you're building an asset base. You're building a portfolio. But this is too hard to grasp because people don't want to go out and study. They don't want to miss the cookout. They don't want to miss a vacation. When the vacation putting people in debt. You know how many people we know literally will come on the line for a trustee meeting, say they went on vacation, and they literally went into debt to go on their vacation. How you going in debt to go on vacations? That's not responsible fiduciary mentality. Oh, Trust Christian is calling it out. So if you're feeling it or you're hearing it, you know what time it is. Hit the like and the subscribe button. You know what time it is. It's a hard pill to swallow. Why? Because you're focused on building generational wealth, not being a part of the 90% that doesn't. So we got to tell you the harsh reality and the truth. It's okay. If this isn't for you, it's not for you. But don't lie to Trust Christian and vote and say, oh yeah, I'm looking to be a fiduciary. But you got to go to everything other than holding the family meeting. Then when you call a family meeting, the family don't want to organize themselves or take time away from Netflix so they can actually sit in the family meeting. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen replay. We appreciate everybody that hits the like and the subscribe button. We appreciate you all. Christian at trustchristian.com, Trustee Training, Christian at trustchristian.com. We're closing off ticket sales on Monday for the event. That's the bottom line. We're not going to be sitting around waiting all week. We ain't going to be sitting here doing this all week for people. Oh man, I had the last minute lifestyle move and now I can make it. It is what it is. And talking about the next one, you see, we're not even talking about the next one. People say, oh, the next one. Yeah, that's where your finances at. the next check. Because if you was focused on being a proper fiduciary, you would invest when those events come up. We were thinking about this one event we went to earlier this year. Big time family event for trustees in California. And man, it was a tight time. It was like, man, we don't know if we gotta go, but what we did was we made the way. We went to the event and we sat in the room and we said, you know what? Even if you're not in a position to invest right now, the greatest thing you could do is invest in your education. The greatest thing you could do is invest in these relationships and people seeing you show up consistently so they can say, you know what? I don't know what you was doing the whole time, but I know one thing. I seen your face more than I seen other people's face over the past few years. So what are you working on now? When you got your thoughts together, when you got your mindset together, when you got your heart set together. What are you doing now? What are you doing nowadays? Oh yeah, well, we got this multi-unit project that we're working on. It's about an 80 to 100 unit. We don't know how to get it financed, and you got that family that you got that estate that says, "Oh man, you know what? I like you. Show me your business plan." And you show them your business plan because you've been working on your business plan for months or maybe even a year. Because you've been looking at the unit and you just didn't know where the money's going to come from. But when you took the time to invest in going back once again and learning how to get the financing and learning how to get the relationships, then you do it. We sat online the other day with someone. Oh man, we're investing in real estate. Yeah, but they don't have a team. All they got is, I got a little bit of scraps. I got a little bit of money, trust Christian. First of all, why are you taking from the family estate to put money in a deal? See, it's called OPM, but they want to talk that smack. Oh man, Trust Christian, it's about OPM and no other people. But are you exercising that? We got trustees that come in a lot talking about they doing personal guarantees. Because they're not focused on making sure that the estate, that the LLCs, that the entities are building credit. But I bought $1 million asset in my name. I'm a personally guarantor. They not thinking business. As a fiduciary, you're a trustee. You don't own the asset. You don't personally guarantee it as the trustee. Once again, as the trustee, you are the fiduciary. You are not the personal guarantor. It's a fact. Well, hold on. How are we going to get the trust funded if we don't have any credit on the trust? Well, does the trust hold assets like a LLC or a C Corp? Is the LLC doing business? Have you done anything with the LLC? Have you done anything with the C Corp? Well, I haven't been able to really make any money in it yet. Are you studying on how to do that? Or are you waiting for a bird to fly up your nose? Because if you're not waiting for a bird to fly up your nose, then you already know what time it is. You got to hit the books. You got to find out what product or service you're selling. You got to have a goal. Sometimes you might not even know the business you're going to go in, but you got to have a dream and you got to say, you know what? I need to know how much money our family needs in order for me to be, I need to be excited, or I need to know like what's going to make our family comfortable. Well, how much money do we need coming off an annuity or a dividend coming off of the estate so we can live comfortably, so we really can do nothing? Because most broke people want to do nothing anyways. All successful people want to always continue doing something. Appreciate Detroit for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate Detroit for tuning in live, listen, to replay. Feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. So if you want to do something with the family estate, how much money does the family estate need? People ain't even thought about that. How much money does the family estate need in order to take care of 1, 2, 3, 4 kids? Or gentlemen, for y'all to take care of the woman, for y'all to take care of your wives in case something happen. Same thing for the ladies. You know what I mean? Ladies come on the line, they married, and their husband don't even come on the line. Where's the family at? Where's the teamwork at? We sit in the rooms once again with the elite, billionaires, multimillionaires. Their wives are sitting in the room. The husbands are in the room. Their 30-year-old plus children are sitting in the room. They still call them kids. The parents are 50, 60. They call their 30 and 20-year-olds kids. And that is a downfall because they might not be competent because you keep calling them a kid instead of treating them as an adult. And that's where Trust Christian and us, we've carved out a niche because we work with these families to help them communicate between Gen 1 and Gen 2. So they can communicate with what they call the kids when they're not kids. You're over 18 years old, you're an adult. Bottom line. That don't mean they can't work for the family estate because they living at home. That doesn't mean they can't contribute in whatever creative way they were meant to do it. But it also don't mean they got to go out and get a job with another man or another woman's last name. They do something under the family estate. But it's so hard to organize Trust Christian and Evolve. Yeah, because you're not thinking and carrying it from a business perspective. Think about it. If somebody don't show up to work on time, if somebody don't show up to work after they've been hired, what happens? They get fired. There's a difference between your relatives and your family. If the family estate if they don't show up to the family estate meetings, they're fired. Would they want to be a beneficiary because they're not acting as a trustee? They're not acting as a responsible trustee. They acting as a beneficiary. They just want a handout. Whenever you decide to give them something as a trustee, that's what they want. They want a handout. That's one of the first questions we answer for trustees when they come online. So what are my children going to do when we talk about what they're going to be your successors? So that's why you want to start doing minutes. Oh, different perspective, huh? Because they thought the children was going to be what? Oh, my child going to be a beneficiary. They just going to get handouts from all my hard work. Now you know why wealth isn't passed along certain times. Because people wanted to just get their kids some money. Now you know why they're irresponsible. Not responsible, irresponsible. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you all at the workshop. Ticket sales and Monday. Looking forward to connecting with people. Once again, even if you didn't have Trust Christian sit on the board, you still got other people that are going to be in the room that are in trusteeship that can sit on the board. You got other people in the room that are in business. You got other people that you can network with. That's what it's all about. People in trust deal with people in trust. Appreciate everyone tuning in live. People hitting the like, hitting the subscribe. Appreciate the people that type their location in the chat. Appreciate you all. Peace and joy. Look forward to seeing you all.